made manifest.
All right, guys, to try to set the backdrop of this message and where we are in time and where we are to historically understand 1 Chronicles chapter 15 and 16. In it, we have the order of what we call the House of David, where David brings up the Ark of the Covenant into Jerusalem. And when he does, he realizes before he made his mistakes in not doing it properly. And he had a great worship service, but one of his people died, bracing the Ark of the Covenant. So David had to come to terms with, okay, God is killing people at my worship service. What am I doing wrong? And so he begins to set this order called the House of David, the Tabernacle of David. Because David himself was unable to build the temple, yet he sets this order which explains what we're looking at in the book of Revelation. Revelation chapter 14 and 15 in particular. Of the harps, of the psalteries. Now these are medieval terms. These are not really what's in the Bible. What you saw me play here is more of a lyre, more of the ancient instrument that David would have played and what's described in the scriptures. But it is through this order that David gets this download of how worship works before the throne in heaven. It's astounding. It is an angelic order. For example, in 1 Chronicles 15, you see four angels, or four porters around the Ark of the Covenant. And those represent the four angels around the throne, the four cherubim. He has 7 that will blow the trumpets. Okay, and you have 7 trumpeters. So there are profound information and understanding that we can see throughout all of what David did. And that's what we're going to look at in this video with how it relates to Revelation 14 in particular. We're going to park on that. And we're also going to look on Revelation 15 with the Song of the Lamb and the Song of Moses. We can see the Song of the Lamb and the Song of Moses in Revelation chapter 15. And that's what you heard in the intro of the video. Great and marvelous are your works, Lord God Almighty. Just and true are your ways, O King of the saints. Who would not fear you, O Lord, and glorify your name? For you are holy, and the nations will come and worship before thee. And your judgments are made manifest. So that's what you could see as a song. I have that on my other channel as well if you just want to hear that song. And basically what that is, it's a summary of the song in 1 Chronicles chapter 16. And in that, we see the expanse of the words and the message of the Song of Moses. In addition to that, we have the Psalm number 105. Which has some more about the Song of Moses, okay? Now, what is going on is so amazing, is so profound. Well, We'll show you and we'll have notes to explain what we're talking about. But hopefully you watch the other video on the kithara. So in Greek, when they look at this instrument or a guitar, they say the word kithara. Now, in the ancient times, it was more of this instrument that we were talking about, more of like a lyre. But that is the instrument that you see them with on the sea of glass and around the throne. Okay? So what's happening is the whole Bible, especially the book of Revelation, is a play, a song book. And we should sing the songs. Okay, when we sing the songs, we see profound things. And that's what we're going to share in this video. And here's another, as we talk about in the intro of the book of Revelation, blessed is he that reads and hears the words of this prophecy, that keeps the book. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave to him to show the servants what must surely come to pass. And he sent and signed and signified to his angel, to his servant John, who bear record of the word of God and the testimony of Jesus Christ, of the things he saw. And he said, blessed is he that reads, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things that are written, that sing those things that are written, for the time is at hand. He's made us kings and priests to God and to his Father. To him be glory and dominion forever and ever. And they sang a new song, saying, you are worthy to take the book and open the seal. For you were slain, you've redeemed us by your blood. You made us kings and priests. We shall reign on the earth and sing with a loud voice. Worthy is the Lamb to receive power. Worthy is the Lamb to receive riches. Worthy is the Lamb to receive wisdom. Worthy is the Lamb to receive strength. Worthy is the Lamb to receive honor. Worthy is the Lamb to receive glory. Worthy is the Lamb to receive blessing. And every creature which was in heaven, every in the earth and under the earth, and such as in the sea, and all that were in them, I heard sing. Blessing, honor, glory, and power. Blessing, honor, glory, and power. Blessing, honor, glory, and power to the Lamb. Blessing, honor, glory, and power. Blessing, honor, glory, and power. creatures said amen, and the 24 elders fell down before him that lived forever. All right, guys, here's our notes, and one of the things you'll notice is that the half shekel coin in Israel, you can see it's a lyre, it's a harp. And so I just thought that was, really cool, and I just wanted to show you. I can also show you some footage of what the ancient lyres and harps do look like, because we do know from other ancient coins. But let's take a look at our notes. And basically what we're going to look at here, guys, is how Chronicles reveals to us what's happening in Revelation. This is so exciting. All right, so basically what happens is David comes, he takes the castle or the palace in Zion, which is the city of David. So the city of David is the proper location of Mount Zion. And so when he does that, he establishes this heavenly order of worship in the next few chapters, okay? So what he did is he came to the city of David, all right, and prepared a place for the Ark of the Covenant. And what he did is he pitched for it a tent or a tabernacle. Now he had available to him Moses' tabernacle, but he set up another tent, another tabernacle. Now there's no date given as to when this takes place, but as you'll see, it has all the imagery and symbolism of Revelation 14 and Revelation 15 within this tent. So we know that Revelation 15 is the first day of the first month. That's coming up next week, guys. Okay, next week. So the first day of the first month is when Moses set up the tabernacle. Okay, in Exodus chapter 40. We have another whole video on that. It's the 1,260 days. So running parallel to this, we have David and the house of David establishing this order. So what he does is he sets up this tabernacle, sets up this tent, in verse 15, chapter 15, verse 1, and chapter 16, verse 1, it talks about this tent. And so brought the Olive Tav, Ark of God, and set it in the tabernacle. Now, as we go here, what you can see is what we've done. As we always do, we let the scriptures interpret themselves. And what we've done here is we have here on the left Revelation 14, and we have here on the right First Chronicles, different chapters. Okay, so in the Chronicles you have different chapters, but it's basically within just a few clusters of chapters that we have all the fulfillment of what you see in Revelation. So you see the Lamb stood on Mount Zion. Okay, now in 1 Chronicles 17:7, it says, the Most High spoke to David and said, I took you from the sheepfold, from following the sheep. So David was what? He was following the sheep. And you have the 144,000 and what? These follow the Lamb wherever he goes. Okay, so we'll get the interpretation. Who is the 144,000? What is it talking about in Revelation 14? It's all in 1 Chronicles. So, of course, you have the 144,000. What is this number? This number is in 1 Chronicles 27, verses 2 through 15. It's the army, and they serve once a month. The first day of each month, they report to duty. How many is it? 288,000. What is that? It's a number comprised of the wise virgins, the 144,000, and the unwise virgins, an additional 144,000. Yes, there's a unwise 144,000, and that you see clearly interpreted by 1 Chronicles 27. Then, these having the name of him and the name of the Father on their foreheads. Okay, having the name of him, having the name of Father on their foreheads. And in 1 Chronicles 16, verses 22 and 23, it says, touch not my anointed. Anointed is Mashiach, Messiah, Christos, Christ. Okay? That's what it says. And then it says, he will show forth his salvation. That's Yeshua. Yeshua is salvation. So right here is his name. Yeshua, Jesus, Christ, anointed, Mashiach. Okay? You can say that in English, you can say that in Hebrew, you can say that in Greek. It's all his name. And what they did, they gave thanks to Yahweh, give glory to him, give thanks to him, and call upon his name. And we're going to write his name in this, Yod He Vav He. That's the name of the Father. And then, Revelation 14:2, I heard a voice from heaven. First Chronicles says, let the heavens rejoice. And the voice from heaven, and the voice of many waters, the voice of great thunder. And then it says, let the sea roar. Well, in Hebrew, that word roar means thunder. Ra'am. Okay? And I heard the voice of the harpers. And this word, we're going to hopefully educate you on who are the harpers, what are the harps. Okay? Well, in Greek, this word is kithara dos. And it's one word, but really in English we would look at it as two words. It's one word, kithara, or harp. And dos is odes. Odes like you sing. An ode's a song. Okay? So what this means is you sing on the lyre. They're singing lyre players, okay? Harping. So it says, I heard the voice of the harpers harping with their harps. Okay? So harping is to play a lyre with their harps, their kithara. Well, we have a perfect order in the house of David with the 24, which were to prophesy with two types of instruments. In Hebrew, one of them, in King James it says harps, but in Hebrew it's a kinnewar. Okay, it's a kinnewar and a psaltery or nabel. Now that's why I'm showing you this, because the best way to represent this is this instrument here. Now this is very small. If you're interested, I'll put a link in the description field if you guys want to get them. You want to get this by the first day of the first month, because that's what we're doing. That's what we're preparing for. So what it would be something that has a box, a sound box, like a guitar has a sound box, and it has strings. So this is a 10-string version of it. Okay, and we do know that the ancient ones would look something to that effect, right? Okay, so that's a harp. That's an actual harp. The definition of a term, if you were to speak to a harp player, they would not call these instruments harps. They would call them lyres, okay? So, but the Hebrew words, we should use the Hebrew words kinnewar and nabel in the kithara, okay? Because we don't want to be liars. We want to tell the truth. But I just want to educate you on these terms, because once we get these terms, we can understand the original language. So, for example, in the Septuagint, which is the Greek Old Testament, for kinnewar, they use kithara, okay? So David sets this order where you have 24 which were to prophesy with the harps, okay, the kinnewar. And then, of course, we see in Revelation chapter 5, verse 8, the living creatures and the 24 elders, each having a harp, a kithara, and vials, or phyle, which is like a bowl. Okay, so they have a vessel. Well, David appointed the singers with the instruments or vessels of music, the psalteries, the nabel, and the kinnewar. So the people in the Hebrew, guys, in the language, it doesn't make a distinction between the person and the vessel. They're one. They make one sound. Okay, so when it's talking about the vessel, it's talking about people. When it's talking about the vessel, it's talking about the instrument. It's all one. Okay, so they are one. They are kithara dos. They're singing. So you sing, you make the sound, okay, and the instrument makes the sounds. You are one. So Revelation 14:3, and they sang a new song, ode, before the throne and before the living creatures. Okay, so the throne and the living creatures are always associated together, the four living creatures and the throne. And you can see they brought up the ark of Yahweh that dwells between the cherubim, where his name is called. Okay, so it's always the ark of the covenant is representing the throne and the cherubim, and his voice will come from the midst of the cherubim. Now, in Revelation 14, it says the four living creatures and 24 and the elders, but it doesn't say 24 elders. Well, there's an order of elders in Chronicles, which we can see. You have the 120, it's Kohath, and you have the 70 elders. And I have the verses where you can find those. So there's different orders and councils of elders. So they didn't say 24 elders. They just said elders. So that means that there's more elders than 24 that it's referring to. And First Chronicles tells us about the other orders and councils of the elders. Now you got 144,000. It says they were redeemed from the earth. In 1 Chronicles 17:21, it says the Most High, He redeemed you out of Egypt. So 144,000 are redeemed out of Egypt, out of the earth. For they are virgins. Now one of the songs in the classes is called the Alamoth. Okay, Alamoth. That's in the Alamoth is part of the class of the I forget which one, if it's verse 20 or verse 21, with the harp players. Okay, so the class of them is called the Alamoth. So they're the 144,000 are the Alamoth. They are the virgins. They have the harps. So Alamoth means virgins. Alma means virgins, but it's plural. Okay, Alamoth or Alamoth. Okay, that's plural, feminine, plural of virgins, Alma. And they are first fruits unto God and unto the Lamb. And they are called chosen and expressed by name. Okay, so there's specific names and orders that goes throughout 1 Chronicles 15 and 16. For they are redeemed from among men. So it makes a distinction to be redeemed from the earth and to be redeemed from the men. And it says, Israel, whom Yahweh has redeemed to be His own people. Redeemed from the people of the earth. Okay, that's why it says that they're redeemed out of every tribe, kindred, and tongue in the songs that we were singing to you earlier. Okay, and then it says, in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before YouTube. They're without fault before the assemblies of God. They're without fault before the Torah community. They're without fault before. No, they're without fault before the throne. That's the answer, guys. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks about you. It's about what the throne thinks, what the throne has to say, okay? And it says that in the word of Yahweh tried Joseph until his time came. So what you can see is we have 1 Chronicles. Now, there's a song there in 1 Chronicles chapter 16. That song is mirrored or copied in Psalm 105. So Psalm 105 actually talks about Joseph being tried, which connects us to, in their mouth was found no guile. They are without fault before the throne. All right, and our next page, guys, it's going to take me a while to get the notes to you, but just follow along. We're going to go quickly here. So then that was Revelation chapter 14, verses 1 through 4. Then we get to the first angel's message. The everlasting gospel to preach to them that dwell upon the earth in every nation, kindred, tongue, and people. So what happens is this is the conclusion that you hear me say in every video. Fear God, give glory to Him, for the hour of His judgment has come. Worship Him that made the heavens, the earth, the seas, and the fountains of waters. Okay, you hear me repeat that. Well, that's the everlasting gospel. That's in Revelation 14, verse 7. So this is the first angel. This is his message. Well, his message is also coded in the song of 1 Chronicles chapter 16. Notice what it says. Okay, let's see what it says. He preached to them that dwell on the earth, every nation, kindred, tongue, and people. Fear God, give glory to Him, for the hour's judgment has come. Worship Him that made the heavens, the earth, the sea, the fountains of waters. Yahweh made the heavens. Give unto Him, you kindreds, the people. Give glory due to His name. Worship Him in the beauty of His holiness. Fear before Him, all the earth. The world is established, that the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice. Yahweh reigns. And then it talks about the sea roaring. We saw that before, the sea thundering. So that very song of the first angel is coded into the song in 1 Chronicles chapter 16. Now, that's the first angel's message. Then what we have is the other song we were singing earlier, and that is the song in Revelation 15. Great and marvelous are your works, Lord God Almighty. Just and true are your ways. Okay, that song we were singing, that's in Revelation 15. Okay, now that song is also coded into 1 Chronicles chapter 16. Sing psalms to Him. Talk of His wondrous works. Glory in His name, His holy name. Remember His marvelous works. What He has done, His wonders, and His judgments of His mouth. He is Yahweh Eloheinu. That means the Lord our God. His judgments are in all the earth. Now, where we are there in Revelation chapter 15, verses 2, it talks about those that overcome the beast. What's happened is those that overcome the beast, they are granted the harps. Okay, that's why we're talking about these harps so much. We keep saying this, guys, because this is the time. This is the time when the harps of God are being issued to the overcomers. Okay? So while that's happening, okay, the overcomers of the beast have the harps, the kitharas. Okay, you can have a guitar too. You don't have to have the same one like this, the old one, or the old style, okay? But they sang the song of Moses and the song of the Lamb. Now, earlier in the video, we were singing the song of the Lamb. That's in Revelation chapter 5, okay? And that is when only the Lamb is worthy to open the seal, okay? But let's remember that Psalm 105 is a copy of the song of 1 Chronicles 16, but what it adds is the plagues of Egypt. So yes, we are to sing about the plagues of Egypt. So this is amazing. It's a time of rejoicing. Okay, the wicked and the sinners and the apostate Christians are crying about the judgment and the plagues, but we are to rejoice when we see these judgments, we see these plagues. So what we have is a bunch of these plagues are listed here in the Song of Moses. So think of the Song of Moses. What are they singing about? They're singing about the judgment and the plagues, okay? The Song of Moses is in lots of places, guys, not just one place. It's in Exodus chapter 15. It's in Jeremiah 10. We've talked so much about this because this is how you understand prophecy, is when you sing it. That's how you memorize things. You memorize them by singing, okay? So for Psalm 105, verse 26, he sent Moses and Aaron, who he had chosen. Okay, so that's Moses, Song of Moses. And they sent signs and wonders and plagues. Okay, so what we have here in yellow is the number of the plague. Okay, so in yellow, that's plague number 9. In verse 28, he sent darkness and made it dark. Okay, well, that's part of the 4th trumpet. Okay, we do have another whole video, guys, and I'll have a link once I get a chance to upload the notes where I'll show you all the plagues and how they relate to the book of Revelation. We'll look at it real quick. You can get a screenshot. And he turned the waters into blood. That's the first plague. Number 2, in their land was brought forth frogs. Well, these are gray aliens in the chambers of the kings. Okay, that's the 6th bowl of Revelation. And there came different types of flies and lice. These are nanobots in all their coasts. So when it says coasts here, it really, in Hebrew, it means borders. So it means that the children of Israel were in a different place of borders than those in Egypt. So they were not subject to the plagues. So we are to rejoice in the plagues because we are not subject to the plagues. Okay? That's why you come out of her, my people, that you receive not of her plagues. And there came different types of flies and lice. I mean, these are just nanoparticles. This is the plagues, guys. And he gave them hail and rain and flaming fire in their land. And he smote their vines and fig trees and trees of the coast, okay? Remember Christ, he cursed the fig tree, all right? And the 8th plague, and he spoke, and locusts came, all right? Well, locust is the lice, the flame, the nanobots, okay? And came, and caterpillars, the locust is the 5th trumpet. Without number, they did eat up and devour the land. And he smote all the firstborn in their land, the chief of their strength. All right, guys, this chart is really helpful. I can post a link to the video. We posted this before. But basically what we have is we have the Exodus. We have all the plagues that we just showed you, okay? The 10 plagues. And then we have a description of those plagues. For example, some people say, well, these plagues, Leland, they're talking about are man-made. Well, yeah, there were man-made plagues then, too, because Moses did certain plagues, and then the magicians, they did plagues, too. Okay? But there was a division between the people so that the plagues did not hit the children of Israel, and they only hit the Egyptians. Okay? So we have a description of that there. So we have Exodus, we have a description of the plagues and affecting the children of Israel or not, and then we have the book of Revelation, and the book of Revelation, how all those plagues are in the book of Revelation. Okay? So I encourage you to get this. This is really helpful because we are to rejoice in these plagues. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Be patient. I will try and get the notes uploaded. Okay, it's 2 pages of notes. And look, on the video, look, we actually have the notes. Fear God, give glory to Him, for the hour's judgment has come. Worship Him that made the heavens, the earth, the sea, and the fountains of waters. So this is part of our playlist on the Exodus. This is part of our playlist on the 144,000. And it may be other playlists as well, which I'll put links in the description field. So thanks for watching, and God bless you.